Hello, everyone. Welcome to First Coast Family Coalition. We are excited to have another round of wonderful presentations. We've got 5 different organizations that are going to be presenting this evening. I'm Michelle Glaze, Director of Professional Outreach for the Foundation Fighting Blindness, global leader in driving retinal degenerative disease research. And we're excited to be able to showcase organizations and groups, both nationally and locally, to Jacksonville. Individuals and groups that provide support to individuals with low vision or blindness will be showcased and highlighted during tonight's session. We do host the First Coast Family Coalition once a quarter. Our next meeting will be in December. And if you're interested in learning more about this group, you can visit fightingblindness.org and click on Foundation Forums for Blindness. You'll see a link to the page. On that page, you can see recordings of past sessions, our founding member team, and all of the local resources in your neck of the woods that have provided presentations for us thus far. The First Coast Family Coalition is a virtual professional networking group designed to bring professionals in Jacksonville and surrounding areas together so that everyone's aware of all of the different resources out there for the blind and low vision community. If you know anybody who would be a good fit for this group, please invite them. If you know anybody that would be a good addition to our list of presenters, please feel free to reach out to myself or Andrew or any of our founding members to invite them to join and to let us know who that might be. So before we get things kicked off tonight, just to give you a brief overview of what to expect, I'm going to start by introducing our founding member team. And then I will be kicking things off by handing over to Andrew, and he will introduce the presenters. We will have 5 presenters this evening. We will let each of the presenters share their information. If you have questions while the presenters are sharing their information, please feel free to type those into the chat. But we will have a formal Q&A after all of the presentations have been completed. We do have some announcements for local area events at the end of the meeting today as well, so stay tuned for those. And we're just excited to have you all here today. So thank you to all of our presenters for joining us this evening. And before we get started, I'd like to just introduce our founding member team. Myself and Andrew Kim are from the Foundation Fighting Blindness, and we're part of this group. We also have Adrian Keeve, Meredith Mason, and Dr. Sandeep Grover that have helped us get the First Coast Family Coalition up and running. And I want to open it up to the founding member team to see if anyone has anything they want to say or highlight before we get started tonight. Founding members.
Just thanks to everybody for being here this evening, and thank you so much to the Foundation Fighting Blindness, of course, for hosting. Thanks to the speakers. Can't wait to hear your presentations, and best wishes tonight.
Thanks, Meredith.
Thank you.
And this is Adrian, Jacksonville chapter president. I second everything Meredith said. Thank you, Meredith. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. I know there are a lot of other events going on tonight for the disabled community in Jacksonville, so we appreciate your time this evening.
Wonderful. All right, team. Well, I am going to introduce Andrew Kim. He's our professional outreach coordinator, and he will be introducing all of our presenters tonight. Andrew?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, and good evening to everyone. And thank you for joining us for our second installment of our First Coast Family Coalition Foundation Forums for Blindness series. And tonight we have another great lineup, as Michelle mentioned, of organizations that serve the low vision and blind community that we're very excited to share. So to kick things off, Nick, it's your cue to get off mute now. I'm going to introduce Nick Mendler, president of the I Spy Foundation, which is a digital directory that connects individuals in the blind and low vision community to essential resources and services, all aimed at improving their quality of life. Nick, can you please tell us more about your organization?
I certainly can. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you, Michelle, for having me on here to speak tonight. So again, kind of did the intro. My name is Nick Mendler, president of the I Spy Foundation. I went to school here in Jacksonville, so UNF alum, and I run a digital agency, website agency here in town. But what I wanted to speak to you guys tonight about is the iSpy Foundation and iSpy.org. So I'll just kind of start with our mission is to create a better digital future for the blind and low vision community. Andrew mentioned that kind of at the beginning there. But the big thing that we've created is a huge directory resource called iSpy.org. So that's EYESPY.org. And I'll start with my low vision story because I think that's where the real genesis of everything starts. So at the age of 16, I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. And this story is kind of similar to a lot of stories that I've heard of other people in the community, where you go in, and I was diagnosed by my optometrist at the time with my mom, and essentially said, hey, you've got this, rare eye disease. There's no real cure or anything like that. And, that's just kind of what it is. And we booked a time to come back in 6 months. And he said, good luck. And we left the office. I think that story is playing out, still today. And we have some amazing, retinal specialists and optometrists and all sorts of people in our community, but there's still kind of a gap between how do we live our lives with low vision or blindness, and how do we really bridge that gap between community and what you need for your individual self, because everyone's a little bit different. We're all going through life at different life stages. We all have different particular things, whether it be a Usher syndrome or retinitis pigmentosa, or you kind of came into low vision in a different way. So I've worked in technology for almost 2 decades now. And, I was looking for a resource, and there's a bunch of amazing ones, but there was no one true place where you could go to find the resources. And I didn't time myself. So if I go over, Andrew, just yell at me. But I couldn't find it. And so my idea was the best way I could give back to the community was to create something that would help and be useful for us. So iSpy.org it is essentially at this point a humongous directory on a national scale. We have over 800 plus items in the directory. That includes FFB, all the FFB chapters, a lot of other nonprofits. But it also has a new kind of swing to it as well, because we live in a digital age where there's just a lot of information out there. And I believe resources are open to whatever helps you along your low vision journey. So along with the directory, we also have a page for events, which we're going to hear about more events here locally in Jacksonville, and some other ones, but we have an events page for that. We also have a news section. So that essentially is all the blog posts and things from whether it be guide dogs or tech or science or lifestyle or sports. It's all topic based and brought in from really trusted sources within our community. And then the last section is the media section, which is kind of the new part to it. So like I said, super digital age, it can be really tough when you're gradually losing your vision, or have lost your vision. And there are resources such as apps that help us with our smartphones, like Be My Eyes, which is an amazing app. You have podcasts like A Blind New World, which talks about accessibility and technical things. You've got YouTube channels and creators. So you've got the Molly Burks of the world, The Blind Life with Sam, all sorts of amazing posts from FFB as well. And you've got amazing groups. So FFB Jacksonville is an amazing community that I'm a part of. And I was a part of the one in Denver as well. And that community vibe and why we're all sitting here is really to create connection between, what we're doing in our lives. And then we just happen to, also have the low vision and blindness going on too. So that connection point is really important. And the other thing that, I've found kind of along the journey of building iSpy, we went to a couple of conferences in the past few months. The Visions Conference up in Chicago in June was amazing because we got to hear people's stories of what they needed in their lives. We also went to the Disability Expo here locally in Jacksonville, which again was a bunch of stories. And I think what I found with that is that, like I said before, everyone has unique needs. And that could be that they want to know about trials and treatments coming up. They want to know about adaptive sports. And I've done sports all my life and I want to be involved in sports. And there's also, hey, I'm just mentally struggling with this. And are there therapists that really understand our needs within the community? So I think that we have the resources. Is that my timer there, Andrew?
No. It was,
Okay.
worry about that.
Okay. Sorry, I just didn't want to roll too far. But I think the biggest point is that we have the resources available. I think the hard part for everybody in their lives is that it's almost like homework that you have to do to find out what's there to help you and how do you connect with those things. So that's essentially what iSpy is meant to be. But also what I learned in that conference is that, it's a huge network just in the United States. And I really need to pare it back. And so what I love about being able to speak tonight is that, our program that we're going to really start to focus on for the remainder of this year is what I call Unpack Jax. And essentially it's taking, what we've already done on iSpy, but we'll be creating a Jacksonville hub for all of the things that we're talking about, in the sense of amazing organizations that are there to help us, whether that's, Brooks or CIL or, FFB Jax or any of the disabled services of Jacksonville. We have a lot. And so I'm going to be building out that directory just for Jacksonville. I'll be putting in all of the events for Jacksonville, all of the news, all of the media, all the things that really are surrounding us. And our goal is to create a navigator program to where someone can go to the Jacksonville page and then be connected with the navigator, which to start will be me. And I will connect that person and learn about what they're looking for their life, and connect them with the people in the community. So with all that said, I know it's a lot to take in, but my real ask of the community is just that I will be reaching out, after the call. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me because Andrew and Michelle have my information. But you can also go to ispy.org now and check that out to see kind of what the build is going to look like or what the resources are going to look like. But my goal is to make it very local because I want this thing to be useful. I want people to find the help that they need. And I just want it to be easier because we deserve it. So that is iSpy. And my name again is Nick Mendler. I'm the founder of iSpy, creator, president, all the things. And actually there's board members on the call too. So anyways, that's it. I will leave it there and not take other people's time. So thanks.
Alrighty, Nick. Thanks so much. And you're absolutely right. This is a digital age we're entering. So I'm really glad that there's an organization such as iSpy that's going to ensure that there's all this digital content is accessible, especially in regards to resources for the low vision and blind community. All right, thanks again, Nick. Moving on to our next guest. Our next guest is Brooks Bernstein, a coordinator at the Florida Alliance for Assisted Services and Technology, or FAAST for short. FAAST is a program that is designed to provide assistive technology to individuals with disabilities and their loved ones. It also offers a range of activities, including device loans, demonstrations, and training to ensure Floridians have access to the latest in assistive technology. So, Brooks, please tell us more about FAAST. Oh, Brooks, you're on mute.
Sorry about that.
There you
Thank
go.
you for having me. And thank you for that lovely introduction. You pretty much took all of what I was going to say, so that's perfect. So as you said, FAAST is, in short, a loan program that also provides trainings, presentations, like what I'm doing now, demonstrations, and of course, loans to clients, their families, really any stakeholders that you guys can think of. So we work with For example, we work with vocational rehab, Division of Blind Services, speech pathologists, OTs, PTs, ABA therapists, audiologists, and teachers of Duval County and every other school in the surrounding area. So loans go for 30 days with a one-time extension of an additional 30, so 60 total in that sense. And you can loan up to 4 different devices at a time. So devices ranging from kind of pairing with whatever the individual is struggling with disability-wise. So for instance, it could be deafness, hard of hearing, blindness, low vision, mobility issues, communication issues is a big one. That's where I see the most providers, I would say, for the alternative augmentative communication devices or AAC devices. Excuse me. And for some sensory devices. And let me think I was on a roll and now all my thoughts just popped out of my head. And then trainings can be either one-on-one or in groups. Demonstrations typically are where a client would come either themselves or a family member and would try something out in the office to make sure that it's a good fit for them before, or at least they want to try it and they want to see how it works before leaving the office so that they can make a decision on what 4 or so devices that they want. If anybody comes to me after 2 weeks of that 30-day loan and says, hey, I really like devices for communication, but this deaf, hard of hearing one, I'm not really liking it so much. Or, my kiddo with autism or with another communication disorder, he can't stand the iPad. It's just not working for him. What else do you have? That's scenarios where after those 2 weeks, we swap out whatever they don't want and then swap in for an additional loan. And then I have an example of a sensory device just because that's pretty easy to explain over Zoom. Everything else is a bit more complicated. But sensory devices like weighted stuffed animals. So this one would go around your neck like that. I know it's kind of hard to see because of my hair. Or on your lap. Can be for kids, adults, elderly, anybody. But it helps with the sensory input and calming of anxiety and some fidgeting and some ADHD type behaviors that come along with those diagnoses. And then there's also a monetary loan program so that after the 30 days or 60 days is up, it's not just me taking back a device from somebody and saying, okay, bye, sorry, you've got to afford it yourself now. It's a low interest loan. And keeping in mind too, a lot of the population that we serve tend to be on the lower socioeconomic status portion of things. So that's something that FAAST is really good at, keeping in mind of, not everybody can afford even a $300 device or $1,000 or whatever that may be. And the expensive devices really just depends on what the specific device is and what specifically the client would need. I don't need any type of medical paperwork. I don't need any type of insurance, nothing like that. The only thing that I need for paperwork wise is just a state issued ID, so a driver's license or an identification card, excuse me. And then just quick, 3 pages or so. Well, I guess half a page filled out with just all that basic driver's license info, address, and phone number, email, stuff like that. And then just reading through all the different terms and conditions that FAAST set up. And then you sign at the end of it. I enter that in my system and then enter whatever devices or tech you come away with. And then that's it. And then you're good to go. And I take walk-in appointments. I always tell people, give me about 2 or so hours heads up so that if I am not in the office, I have time to get back in the office, or if I'm at an event, I can always go ahead and just schedule an appointment that way, because I tend to be running around and out of the office quite a bit. And then I think I have about I just updated my inventory, but I went from 200 to 50 or so devices of all different categories to, I believe, 300, close to. So I updated a lot of mobility and positioning and a lot of my sensory devices because I noticed kind of a gap. So I think that's pretty much it. I put all of my contact info in the chat, my email, phone number with my extension, still Jacksonville and our address. It's based out of SIL, but of course they're two different nonprofits. So SIL helps individuals live independently, providing a ton of different services, and FAAST is only one of them. So that's where my office is located. And then there's an open house exclusively for FAAST, not for SIL, but for FAAST, at SIL on the 22nd of October from 4 to 7. Okay, I think that's it. I think I'm done now.
Alrighty, Brooks. Well, thank you so much for that information. It's
Thank you.
assistive technology is super important, especially nowadays. So it's very cool that there's you essentially have like a rental program, right, for people to use the device to see if it works with them, if it's compatible with
Yep.
them. So very
Mhm.
cool, very cool.
Yep. Thank you.
Alrighty, thanks again, Brooks. So on to our next guest. Our next guest is Kara Tucker, the Chief of Disabled Services for the Jacksonville Disabled Services Division. The Disabled Services Division has a goal to improve the quality of life of individuals with disabilities by addressing and resolving barriers such as transportation, housing, and accessibility and employment, just to name a few. So Kara, please tell us more about your organization.
Thank you for having me tonight. And I am also a proud UNF alumni and Jacksonville native, along with Brooks and Adrian on this call and maybe a few others. So, and Nick, I do have some resources for you during towards the end of my presentation. So however I can assist in getting the message out for any of the other organizations, just let me know. So in regards to ADA compliance, our office tracks federal and state and local ordinances that impact disability rights. We make sure that the city of Jacksonville as a whole is ADA compliant. We increase public awareness. We work with information technology, and we're working on the 508 compliance to support the website, with all the different things that we have to do in regards to Title II and the Americans with Disabilities Act and the updates with making websites accessible and documents accessible for the community. And then also I help with the reasonable accommodations for our city employees that need reasonable accommodations to be able to complete their jobs. So as part of our programs and services, we do have college scholarships for students with disabilities. So any graduating seniors here in Duval County that have lived here for at least 6 months that are graduating from a Duval County school, private or public, can apply for our scholarship, and it's usually the deadline is April of each year, the middle of April. And it can be up to $2,500 scholarship that can go to any local school or vocational school. So that's one resource that we have. We also have our disabled parking enforcement program. That's how we receive a lot of our funding. And that's also, we have about 50 volunteers in that program. And we have a disabled parking enforcement administrator, and that's where we go around and enforce the disabled parking. So that's with the blue signs with the Disabled International Wheelchair logo. And that's how we get our funding. 70% of the funding from those citations come back to the community, and that's how we run all of our programs and services here at the city. We can also do our home improvement program. We can provide grab bars. And then we also partner, we're a part of the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Division. So we partner with Brooks and Special Olympics and several other community organizations, to name a few, to be able to do adaptive recreation, and like Florida, the Florida Outdoors Association as well. They came and did our expo with us earlier this year. We partner with our solid waste division to help with our waste assistance program to help individuals that can't get their garbage to the curb. And then we have our wheelchair ramp and repair program. Some of the community events that we're known for is our ADA symposium, where we work with builders and contractors to make sure that they can get their credits, to make sure that everything is compliant in regards to the building aspects and architecture perspective. We have our IT symposium. That's where we focus on the 508 compliance and making documents and websites and all of those things compliant as well in regards to the IT perspective. We do different things in regards to employment, in regards to advocating for individuals with disabilities to find employment, as well as doing employment engagement sessions with HR professionals. And then throughout the year, we also provide different tickets to the community for the different sporting events, such as hockey, baseball, arena football, and for the Jaguars with our disabled veterans when we do the outreach for them for the Veterans Week as well. So, and the other thing that we're definitely known for is our Mayor's Disability Council. Those are 13 individuals cross disability that definitely advocate for the community and provide feedback to the division as well as the mayor and the administration in regards to different things that are important to the disability community. And we partner with several community organizations. With our Mayor's Disability Council, they meet the first Tuesday of every month from 3 to 5 in the Mayor's Conference Room here at City Hall, which is 117 West Duval Street, Jacksonville, Florida, 32202 on the 4th floor. And then also one of the other things that we do each year, and it's always on, we try to do it around the signing of the ADA. This next year, it'll be our Disability Expo, our Disability and Adaptive Recreation Expo. It'll be July 26th, which is on a Saturday. This past year we had over 600 attendees and over 100 different vendors in regards to adaptive recreation and community resources as well. For Nick, as you're building your website, we also have, and I know Adrian talks about this all the time, one of the things, we have a resource guide that's over 300 pages that has different community resources, state, local, and national resources for the entire community. And we update that, every year and a half or so. So we're currently on revision 5. So as you're building your content for your website, if you see different things or different things that we should add, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and we can partner in any way in regards to that. I know another resource too was the My Needs Network. They came to our expo and presented as well. So that could also be another partnership for you there as well. And the resource guide can be found in an accessible format on our website, which is jacksada.com. There's a large print version as well as a regular print version. So you have both, and they're in English, and you can use, if you need to change it to a different language, you can use the software at the top of the website to change it over to whichever language you need. So let's see. Yeah, I think that's everything that I had. Like I said, our website is jacksada.com. You can find the information about the Mayor's Disability Council. With their subcommittees, they're currently working on employment, and we have some different initiatives that are exciting that are going to come out later this year, with October coming up as Disability Employment Awareness Month. And then we have Disability Employment Awareness Month, we have White Cane Awareness, which I think Adrian will have some different announcements in regards to that coming up as soon as I finish my presentation. And then so we're excited about those different things, and I know that there's different conferences that we've helped with this past year as well. So like I said, jacksada.com, and you can follow the Mayor's Disability Council. And my email address is carat@coj.net. And yes, if you do use a screen reader, it comes up as Carrot. So yes, it's fine. And I do answer to that if you see me, and I laugh about it. IT was creative when they came up with it. So if I can answer any questions when we go to the Q&A, I'll be happy to stay on, and thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you, Kara. Really appreciate you telling us about your organization. It's pretty comprehensive, and super glad that you're trying to make things more accessible, especially for folks in their everyday lives. So again, thank you for all that information. And on to our next guest, whose name I hope I pronounced correctly, please. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It's Noel Guidry, the owner at Insight OT Services and Consulting. Insight is a home-based outpatient low vision occupational therapy for individuals with vision loss. Their services are designed to help clients maximize their remaining vision and improve their independence in daily tasks. Noel, please tell us more about OT Services and Insight OT Services and Consulting.
Thank you, Andrew. You did very well. My name can be kind of tough. It is Noel Guidry, and yes, very close, good. And yes, and I am an occupational therapist that is specialized in the care of low vision rehabilitation. I do own a company that provides mobile services. That means I take the clinic, the low vision occupational therapy clinic, to individuals' homes so they don't have to go into clinic. Often transportation may be a barrier. And so I'm doing what I can to reach people who may have a more difficult time getting services. I want to start off first, though, in just simply describing what occupational therapy is, because that is, we get that question a lot. We don't help people find jobs, although working on returning to work could be something that we do, but it's all about returning to activities of daily living, the things that people need or want to be able to do. Specifically, the field of vision rehabilitation occupational therapy requires additional training, and it is a specialization. And those of us that practice in it work in alignment with eye care professionals, ophthalmologists, and optometrists to gain functional outcomes for the clients. We have to have an understanding of the eye conditions, what refraction means, the optics, the assistive tech that's available, community referral sources, devices, and so on and so forth. We also have a background. We are healthcare providers, so we have a background in the medical sciences as well to understand the health of each individual. So essentially, when I go in, I perform an evaluation. And so I'm looking at the functional visual status of each client, having a good understanding of maybe their acuities, contrast fields, maybe central blind spot patterns, maybe peripheral field loss, so on and so forth. Maybe what their status is currently in vision dependent activities of daily living. What their home environment is like, what their goals are. That's huge. We're a very client-centered profession. We take into consideration what each person wants and needs to do. Their goals are very important to us because, again, that correlates to meaningful engagement in daily life activities as well as quality of life, right? So, so when it comes to the treatments, one of the top things that people are interested in doing is reading. Very often the conditions have resulted in a great difficulty or inability to read, but it's amazing what people can do with the proper tools. When they have the proper optical devices or assistive technology, very often people can return to reading. And so perhaps they obtained a magnifier or whatnot or high-powered readers from their physicians. We go in and we have an understanding of how those optical devices work, and we will train and educate people in the proper use of those devices. The focal distance is quite close with some higher powered devices. And so it doesn't always come naturally, right? We're so used to holding things out here when we read. So sometimes just educating on how to properly use devices is very important and a game changer for using the devices. Secondly, when it comes to technology, I will often, or always rather, start with what somebody has, and I'll tell you, our phones and tablets can do a ton when it comes to compensating for visual loss. So I start there and see if a person can use it, and how they manage the touch screen for electronic magnification, maybe text-to-speech options, maybe going into apps, maybe, first of all, I just go into the accessibility settings, honestly, and make sure that they can use their phones and read it, whether it's through increasing the font size, the contrast, or using a voice assistant, right? But if another device is needed, I do have devices like what you see behind me for that are available for me to show clients. I'm sorry, it's this. I might be having a little technical. So back here, It might be an electronic reader that might make things larger or higher contrast. We have control of what that contrast is, what the size is, and so on and so forth. So there's many options available on the market. There's head-worn, there's desktop, there's portable devices. So I'm always listening to the client and I'm gathering what their cognitive skills are, what their physical skills are, what their sensation is like, and what they need to do. And so then I'm thinking, okay, all these devices are available. What can I do to help match the proper device to the client, right? And then educate in that device. If a person comes to me with a device, then I will ensure that they're independent in its use. I also mark appliances, just showing clients or marking appliances can make people so much more accurate and independent and efficient. It's pretty remarkable. I do a lot of labeling in the home. I also look at lighting, ambient and task lighting. I look at home safety and I make recommendations for fall prevention. I also work on communication needs, whether that's a landline phone, making sure that someone can use it and is able to call out properly. Maybe it's, again, using their cell phones. Maybe it's writing. Often people want to get on social media as well. So again, going back to the accessibility features of their tablets and phones, that's what I address. I also place referrals, and it's kind of neat. I see many of the people that I have placed referrals to on this call referred over to the Division of Blind Services, the VERC, for maybe orientation and mobility training, maybe the classes, and group activities to promote independent living as well. I've referred clients over to the FAAST, over to Brooks to possibly trial a device. Maybe it's auditory medication labeling, getting on and making sure that they get set up with these things, talking books, transportation options. So really we're connecting them with community resources through that referral process, but then also going a step further to educate and make sure that they know how to use those, right, independently, because that's what it's all about. It's all about independence. So I just have a quick story. I had a lady in the past few weeks, and I was showing her, that she could read with an electronic magnifier. And she was so thrilled about that. And then I showed her, I just set up the Google Voice Assistant and it was amazing. She said, she said, I can call my family. I can text with my family thread. All my kids text every day and I haven't been able to do it. And she looked up with the most exuberant look on her face. And she said, this is helping me to see in more ways than one. And all I could do was I just welled up and I'm like, this is what it's all about. This is why I'm doing this. This is, I love what I do. It's such a pure form of occupational therapy. And I just want to spread the word about it. And I just want, I know my days on this, all of our days are limited, right? But I know my days are limited. I want my days to count on this earth, and I want to do what I can to give back to people. And I think what an amazing field to be in. I think, golly, there should be more of us. So anyway, I'm working to help promote, to let everybody know that we OTs are here and we would like to help.
Oh, alrighty, Noel. Well, thank you for letting us know about your organization, Insight OT, and thanks for that really great story. I think it's a really good reminder for everyone on this call why you do the jobs that you're doing right now. It's for those moments, right? Alrighty, so to our last, but certainly not least, guest for tonight, Joan Carlson. She is an area coordinator for the Jacksonville Puppy Group for Dogs Inc. Dogs Inc. provides guide dogs, service dogs, and skilled companion dogs to individuals with disabilities at no cost. They also seek to empower people with vision loss by offering them highly trained dogs that support their independence and well-being. So, Joan, please tell us more about Dogs Inc.
Okay, well, some of you, depending on what areas of the country you're in, you may know us as Southeastern Guide Dogs, and we are just now, as of September 1st, transitioning from Southeastern Guide Dogs to Dogs Inc. Only because, for whatever reason, because we've been Southeastern Guide Dogs for over 40 years. They've decided it's kind of put them in a niche where people think they're only servicing the Southeast of the United States. They're not. We have dogs in every single state of the country. We do, as you said, we do more than just the guide dogs. We do guide dogs, service dogs, skilled companion dogs. So they've decided that they need to rebrand. So now we are Dogs Inc. And if I refer to ourselves as Southeastern, you'll have to forgive me because that's who I've been for the past 9 years. So what my group does is we do the basis for the guide dog training. So we raise the puppies from 8 weeks to about 14 months, 14 to 16 months, depending on if it's a breeder evaluate or if they've got too many dogs coming in at a certain time. We take the dogs, we socialize them, we teach them all the base manners. It's not until they actually get back in, we call it FIT, in for training, that they do the actual skilled, teaching them to stop at curbs, teaching them to stop at cracks and things like that. So the dogs that we, as you said, they are highly skilled. They start training at 2 days old, meaning that they are being handled, they're being touched, they're being evaluated. So by the time those puppies go out, and puppies go out to us as raisers between 8 to 12 weeks, the closer to 8 weeks that we can get them, the better off it is. But they already know by that time which dogs they're looking at that are coming back in for their breeding colony. So they do their own, they've got their own genetics lab. They're located down in Palmetto, Florida, which is just south of Tampa. So if you ever have an opportunity to get down there, please do. It is, you will be so amazed by just their campus. I know I was blown away the first time I saw their campus. It is like it's like a college. So when you apply for the dogs, as you said, there is no cost to the recipient, because a lot of the people that are getting our dogs have never had a dog before. All right. And we're not looking to make this a cost, and because owning a dog as a pet is, it can cost you about $1,000 a year for just a healthy dog. So we are a 501(c)(3), and all of our donations go towards the training, the research, but more than that, it's into the support of the dogs that are out actually in the field working. We've got probably, I want to say we've placed over 3,000 dogs in the past, couple of years. So they will pay, there's no cost for the dog. There's no cost for the veterinarian. There's no cost for the food. There is no cost for the flea tick, any of that stuff. They cover you the entire time you have the dog in service. And usually the dogs are in service for about 7 years. So the dogs are going out at about 2 years old, maybe just under 2 years old. So they work until they're about 9. And at that point, we will ask that the dogs are retired. And you can either keep your dog, you can give your dog to a family member, because again, remember, we're not trying to add a burden, a financial burden, because a lot of people, they just cannot afford that. And if they cannot afford it, then the dog comes back to Southeastern Guide Dogs, Dogs Inc. And we will place it in a home. One of the ways that we raise money so that it is actually something that we can do, that we can, provide for free to those who qualify. We have a lot, I want to say about 35% of any dog in any guide dog school, 35% pass to become guide dogs. It's really a very, very hard skill. Then there's the service dog, which is just a little bit lower than that. And we provide that to service members. So somebody with PTSD, they might have a disability, they might be a Gold Star family, they might be just a military family. Those people can apply for one of our dogs. But there are some dogs that will have a medical condition. Dogs have personalities, believe it or not. Every single dog is different. So the dogs that don't quite make it to everything else, they go into our public adoption pool. And I know people think, oh, they go into the pound. They are not. So there's about a 3 to 5 year waiting list for these dogs that don't make it into any of our programs. And it's a $5,000 donation. So that is how we are able to, provide the services that we do provide. So for the guide dogs, you need to be 16 years and older. You need to have an established routine for at least 2 years. So you kind of have to know what your route is, what your routine is. You can apply. It is probably, I hate to say it, but it is about a 2-year waiting list to get one of the dogs. So each dog, as I said, we are evaluating these dogs from 2 days old. It is with a raiser for about 14 months, and then it is with a trainer, an actual, trainer down there at the guide dog school for another 6 months. So we know these dogs inside and out. So we know their personalities. We know if they're laid back. We know if they're active. So we know how to place them with the person that's coming through. So you might be a super active person. Okay. So we're not going to place you with a dog that's kind of just chilled and happy to sit in an office all day. We're going to give you a dog that's got a little bit more energy, a little bit more get up and go. Trying to think what else. So when you get accepted into the program, you come for 3 weeks. It's not, a lot of people think, okay, you've got this dog, it's highly skilled, you just give it away. It doesn't work that way, because if you don't know how to work a dog, the dog is just going to be a dog. So you come for 3 weeks, you are on campus. We call them dormitories. It is not a dormitory like you have ever seen. It is like a 5-star resort. Each person has their own suite. The dog that they are matched with will come, and they are taking care of this dog from day one. So there's a kennel in your suite for the dog. You have got an outside patio. You've got an outside backyard. So you're learning how to take care of this dog while you're actually learning how to work the dog. You've got a trainer that works just with you. So as I said, you're on campus for 3 weeks. You learn how to work the dog. Then you've got support. So this trainer will come out and it meets you at least once a year to give kind of backup support, making sure that you don't have issues, because every lifestyle is different. Every dog might have a different, they work perfectly for us. They go to a new person, there might be a glitch. So this trainer is going to come out to wherever you are in any of the 50 states and help you work through whatever the problem is you're having with the dog. We also have skilled companion dogs. The skilled companion dogs, they will go for children that have vision problems, but they're not a guide dog. So it's not a child taking a dog out. It's a child getting ready to have a guide dog, learning how to, bond with the dog, because if there's not a bond, and we do have a couple times a year where a dog has been placed with a person and there is not a bond by the end of the 3 weeks, they might have to remove that dog and try a different dog, because it's important that that person bonds with the dog and the dog bonds with the person. So with the skilled companion dogs, it might go to a child that has vision loss. It could go to a teenager. It can also go to an adult that doesn't think they're quite ready for a guide dog. It's just, as I said, it's an amazing place. They do amazing things with these dogs. If you have an opportunity to get down to Palmetto, if you're ever there, they always invite you to come take a tour of the campus. So whether you are vision impaired or not, you're welcome to come take a tour of the campus. They'll put you on a vision walk where you are blindfolded and you are given a guide dog, and you've got to learn how to rely solely on this dog telling you it's okay to cross the road. It's okay that there's stairs here. There's a crack in the sidewalk. It's just amazing to see these dogs work. It really, really is. So the new web browser is dogsinc.org. But if you go on guidedogs.org, it's still going to bring you into dogsinc.org. Once you go onto their website, they'll kind of guide you through. It's pretty easy to use, and it'll tell you about the guide dogs. There's a video you can watch, and then it'll ask you, are you interested in applying for a guide dog? And it'll take your information, and then someone will call you back. You can also call the school, because there's always somebody who actually answers the phone, which is how I got involved, I called because my dad was aging and I was looking for a dog that was kind of settled. And I thought, I wonder what they do with the retired guide dogs. I called them, someone answered, and then they sucked me in. So 9 years later, I am in charge of Jacksonville. And we do, if anyone's interested in seeing how we do our meetings, we meet twice a month. We meet the first Monday and the third Saturday of every month. And we are out and about in the community, making sure that the dogs are hitting their milestones that they're supposed to, and that they are actually being out there, they're socialized, because the hardest thing for a dog is seeing other dogs. So we get them out, we make sure that they are seeing other dogs before they actually go in for training. So they have got a little bit of a handle on keeping themselves in control. So that's pretty much about it, as far as I know.
Hey, Joan. Well, thank you so much for going so in depth. There's a lot of information there that I didn't even know about guide dog training. So that's super cool. And I'll definitely check out that video. And if I can, I'll see if I can stop by and go for that free tour you're talking about.
Please do, because it is amazing. As I said, I was blown away the first time I went down. It was not what I was expecting.
Well, thanks again, Joan. And alrighty, well, that is the final presentation for the evening. Michelle, I'll hand things over back to you then.
Right. Well, thank you so much to all of our presenters this evening. As a member of the low vision community, it's so it's just heartwarming to me to hear from each of the different organizations on these calls, and to see and hear the passion that so many professionals have for the work they do. So thank you all for everything that you're doing to provide support and resources for our community in Jacksonville and surrounding areas, and even beyond there. So I would like to open up for questions. If anyone has questions or comments, and during these last 10 minutes or so, 9 minutes or so, I also want to encourage Chelsea War and Adrienne Keeve. If you have any announcements about the Jacksonville chapter for Foundation Fighting Blindness, I welcome you to share those items. So we'll just open up the floor and see if anyone has questions or comments.
So Michelle, not a question, but a comment to Joan. I just want to thank her and her organization so much for supporting me as a guide dog user. I went out of the country for 2.5 weeks this year. And even though I'm a Leader Dogs for the Blind user, Dogs Inc., no longer using the Southeastern Guide Dogs name, Dogs Inc. came to my rescue, provided me a puppy raiser to help me take care of my guide dog while I was out of the country. So Joan, thank you so much. This is about exactly why we're having this call. It's about connecting resources in the community, driving the relationships, and just nurturing such a positive, feeling for everybody. So thank you, Joan.
You're welcome. And Meredith, your dog is Luna, correct?
Correct.
That's what I thought. Yeah, she was. She would. They really enjoyed her. They really did.
Thank you.
May I ask Kara a quick question?
Yes.
Kara, is there a referral process for the grab bars and the ramps and whatnot that you were talking
Sure.
about?
They can call our 630 city number, the 630, the call center number, or they can call our office directly and start the interview process in regards to the financial need, paperwork, and all of that.
Okay, is there actually, so there's a financial need, and then is there installation as well?
We work with the company to do that.
Okay.
It's covered once we do that, but there's a pre-qualification process where we ask them a few questions for both programs, for the ramp and for the grab bars.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to say real quick that number one, Kara, that list is amazing. So thank you for that. But to everybody, if you have resources, if you have anything, whether it be an app, a podcast, a nonprofit within the area, my email's in the chat, but it's really simple. It's just nick@ispy.org, and shoot them over. But I will connect with everybody else as well. So thank you for that, because I know Adrienne and events and all that stuff. So I just wanted to throw that in there real quick.
You're welcome.
This is Adrienne. I have a question for Brooks. Brooks, can you maybe just share a few specific to low vision and blindness type items that people could borrow from you?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's the Vision Buddy, CCTV. There's a ton of different magnifiers that I have. You're familiar with the WeWalk cane. I've brought that into demo before. Trying to think. I know there's more. I'm just out of my office, so I'm trying to think of what else. But yeah, it's mostly magnifiers and the like. Have you tried the new Vision Buddy? I have not. Is that like a 2.0, James? Nope, I haven't, but I'll have to look into it. Thank you. Anybody else have any more questions?
And this is Kelsey. I didn't want to interrupt if anyone else had any more questions, but I just want to introduce myself to you all. For those that I haven't met yet, I'm so excited to be on this call with you guys. Thank you so much for your participation. So I'm the community manager for the Atlantic Coast. I do oversee the Jacksonville chapter. Work closely with Adrian and Meredith and Dr. Grover and Nick as well. So I just want to share, I know I received a few RSVPs from some of you. Thank you so much. It's great to see some familiar names and faces on the call. So I just want to share that we'll be having our first Vision Connection on September 28th, which will feature small group sessions on low vision therapy, navigating through employment, transportation, and independent living. So really excited about it. It's actually going to be at a pretty cool venue called Sweet Pete's. Love to have your attendance. And that event's going to be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's going to be led by our lovely chapter leaders. And Dr. Grover is also going to be providing a few research updates as well. So again, we'd love to have you all there. You can RSVP by just shooting me an email at c4warr@fightingblindness.org. So again, thank you all so much for your participation. It's so great to be on this call with you all tonight. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Chelsea. Adrian, did you have any items in addition or?
Yeah, there's an event that I wanted to share that is coming up on October 19th. The Division of Blind Services and the Center for Independent Living, along with the Disabled Services Division and several other community groups, we are partnering to host a white cane walk. It will be October 19th. Details still are being worked out. So if you are connected to this call, you probably know somebody who's going to share the information when things are more finalized, but we're looking at a start time of around 10 a.m. and walking between the Center for Independent Living and the Division of Blind Services on that Art Museum Drive strip. Should be a lot of fun, and we hope that you can join us. Again, if you want to receive that information, you can contact me or Kara. And we will be able to share more information as it comes available.
Adrian, it's Brooks. I'm super excited for that walk. Of course, because I'm at SIL with everybody. So I'll be hopefully planning on demoing the WeWalk cane as well.
Awesome.
And I'm excited. So yay.
And Adrian, the proclamation's done. I saw it today, and I'm working with public affairs to get a recorded message from Mayor Deegan.
Okay.
That we can use at the different events throughout the month of October.
Okay. Thank you, Kara.
You're welcome.
All right, Michelle, that's it.
All right. Well, this has been a really great session. I'm so excited about all the information that was shared tonight. On behalf of the Foundation Fighting Blindness, thanks for all that you do. We encourage you to get involved at the chapter level in Jacksonville. If you are working with professionals who would benefit from learning about resources available through the Foundation Fighting Blindness or through this group, please do let Andrew and I know so that we can loop those folks in. We do offer no-cost genetic testing through the foundation in alignment with some partners. Andrew and I have educational materials, webinars, on-demand sessions, different sorts of content to provide information about inherited retinal diseases and updates in the clinical research field. There are more than 50 clinical trials underway for retinal degenerative diseases currently, and the foundation does fund many of those. So if you have individuals that would benefit from learning about that information, please connect them with the foundation or our team. We would love to share information with professionals and individuals alike. So thank you all so much. We hope to see you on the next First Coast Family Coalition, which will be in December. Stay tuned for a date and time. So thanks everyone so much, and we will see you in a few months, if not before.